Most people are defeated before they even start because they don't believe they can win. Napoleon Hill.
The truth is that you are being programmed to lose, and you don't even realize it. Most live as if they had all the time in the world, playing survival as life passes by. And the worst? Thinking that thinking positive is enough. It's not enough. Get serious, it's the key turn. Serious with your purpose. Serious with your mind. Serious with your discipline. Napoleon Hill said, "You will be paid for what you master." But how can you expect to master anything if you can't even master yourself? Do you think the successful ones got there by chance? None of that. They got smart. They learned to say no. Cutting what sucks. Thinking clearly. Acting with precision. They are not waiting for motivation. They are moving by commitment. And if you don't do the same, you will continue to manifest scarcity, frustration, and repeating cycles. Does it seem harsh? It's reality. But there is a way out, and it starts with a decision. Reprogram your mind starting today. If you feel like you were born for something greater, but you're stuck, this is your time. Because when you understand how to control your thoughts, your energy, and your vision of the future, everything changes. And what seemed distant suddenly approaches with an inexplicable force. The problem was never the world, it was your mindset. But that's about to change. Success requires purpose and focus. There is no true success without intention. The universe does not conspire in favor of those who live in automatic mode, guided by distractions and the will of others. Napoleon Hill once said, "Burning desire is the starting point of all achievement." The truth is that many people want to get rich, transform their lives, achieve abundance, but almost no one is clear about what they are actually looking for. Personal growth requires more than loose dreams, it requires direction. Having purpose is like adjusting the compass of your mind to the right north. This is where real manifestation begins, when you know what you want and decide, once and for all, to pursue that destiny with a success mindset. If you wake up every day without knowing where you want to go, you're like a ship without a rudder. It drifts, influenced by the tides of other people's opinions, social networks, external pressures. Mind power needs a target. When a person writes down their objectives, defines specific goals, and sets deadlines for each of them, they reprogram their brain to look for solutions. This is not magic, it is neuroscience aligned with spirituality. Try writing down in a notebook where you want to be in 6 months. Describe in detail where you live, how much you earn, who you live with, how you feel. This is personal development in practice. But having a purpose without focus is like trying to cross the ocean with a hole in the boat. Focus is the force that transforms an idea into realization. And here's the biggest modern enemy: distraction. It is impossible to achieve abundance if your attention is fragmented between notifications, comparisons, and worries. Self-discipline is the muscle that strengthens focus. How about starting with a simple action? Choose a fixed time each day to dedicate yourself to a single project that takes you in the direction of your dreams. This alone begins a powerful cycle of self-improvement and manifestation. Those who grow professionally and stand out are not the most intelligent or privileged. They are the most focused. They dominate your agenda. They say no to what doesn't contribute to their professional development. They train the mind to resist momentary temptations in the name of lasting achievements. And this applies to any area: money, health, spirituality, business. Positive thinking only works when it is combined with clear action. It is action with intention that transforms statements into concrete reality. Notice how the greatest achievers in history were positively obsessed with their goals. Thomas Edison worked for hours on end with one thought in mind: I will find a way to make this light bulb work. This is practical manifestation. It's not about waiting for something to fall from the sky, but about nurturing empowering beliefs daily, believing that the universe responds to clarity. There is no room for negative thinking when your mind is aligned with a higher purpose and guided by unwavering focus. And if all this is already awakening you, take advantage and subscribe here to the channel. This is very important for the growth of our work, and so that you don't miss any new videos that can completely change your mindset. Combined? Now imagine what can happen when we learn to use our own failures as a ladder and not as a stumbling block. There is no true personal growth without setbacks. Setbacks are not obstacles in the way, they are the path itself. It's crazy to believe that success manifests itself without resistance. Napoleon Hill clearly shows us that each temporary defeat contains within it the seed of an equivalent benefit. Failure only becomes final when the person gives up. Those who understand the power of the mind see no as a strategic deviation, not as a sentence. And you know what's curious? Sometimes the universe delays certain desires because it is preparing something bigger. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed more than 10,000 times before he managed to turn on the lamp. Each failed attempt was a stepping stone to the next level of wisdom. He didn't see his failures as defeats, but as feedback. It is this vision that separates those who want to get rich from those who live trapped in limiting beliefs. The disciplined mind understands. It's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get up with more clarity. Self-improvement begins the moment you decide that failure has no power over you. The most accomplished people you know today have experienced periods of shame, doubt, and rejection. Henry Ford was ridiculed for his ideas. Walt Disney was fired for lack of creativity. Oprah Winfrey was deemed unfit for TV. They all could have stopped, but they decided to reprogram their success mindset and follow through. This is personal development in action. It's about reframing. You can do this too. Write on a piece of paper now. What does this failure want to teach me? This simple question has the power to unlock your most authentic manifestation. Many people sabotage themselves because they still believe that making mistakes is a sign of weakness. But in fact, making mistakes is a sign of courage. It's a sign of someone who is trying, testing, evolving. And anyone who wants to achieve abundance and wealth needs to understand that every mistake is an investment in their own future. When you fail and keep going, you are shaping your character, your faith, your self-discipline. It's sending the universe a clear signal. I deserve this achievement. Manifestation begins with persistence, not perfection. Accepting setbacks is also an act of profound self-help. It means not punishing yourself for being human, but embracing yourself as someone in constant construction. A successful mindset is not about being invincible, but about knowing how to use each fall as a boost. The next time you feel like something has gone wrong, ask, how can this benefit me 6 months from now? This changes the game, because the more you understand the role of failure, the faster you begin to see the signs from the universe pointing to the next step. And perhaps the biggest secret is here. The more you accept failures as part of the journey, the stronger you become. It is at this point that true self-confidence is born. But that's what we're going to talk about now. Self-confidence is not a gift, it is a construction. No one is born fully believing in themselves. It is cultivated with intention, like someone who waters a plant daily. The big mistake is waiting for trust to appear before taking action. But it's just the opposite. Consistent action is what generates trust. Napoleon Hill said that faith is the state of mind that can be induced by the affirmation or continual repetition of instructions to the subconscious. In other words, the more you affirm your greatness and act with courage, the more your brain becomes convinced that you are capable. The human mind has almost unimaginable power, but if you feed it with negative thinking, doubt, and insecurity, it shuts down. On the other hand, when you insist on repeating affirmations of power and put into practice small daily actions of overcoming, your success mindset begins to flourish. It is possible, for example, to start the day with affirmations such as, I am capable of creating abundance. My mind is aligned with wealth. I manifest my desires clearly. These simple phrases, said with feeling, are already an act of mental reprogramming. Anyone who wants personal growth and professional development needs to trust themselves so much that the opinions of others become noise. And that's not arrogance, it's awareness. Awareness of one's own value. Self-confidence makes you stand up when no one applauds. It makes you take the next step even if you're not sure where it's going. Because deep down, you will adapt, you will learn, you will thrive. This is mind power. This is real, applied, transformative self-help. There is no true manifestation without this solid foundation within you. Self-confidence is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Most people hope to feel confident about starting something new, but the most successful feel the fear, and do it anyway. If you are thinking about starting a business, changing careers, getting out of a toxic relationship, starting from scratch, know that what separates those who do things from those who just dream is this invisible muscle called confidence. You don't need to see the entire staircase, just the first step, and go up. Want a practical exercise? Take a piece of paper and write down 3 moments in your life when you overcame something that seemed impossible. Rereading them frequently activates an internal strengthening cycle. This is self-improvement. This is remembering that you were strong before and that you can be again. These records are anchors that keep you from sinking into doubt. Self-confidence is, indeed, the greatest asset you can develop, more valuable than money, contacts, or diplomas. It is the basis of manifestation. And when you develop that internal foundation, everything starts to move differently. Your decisions gain weight. Your energy attracts new opportunities. But that's what we're going to talk about now, because if there's something that changes destinies, it's the right decisions. The most powerful moment of your life could be hidden in a single decision. It's not an exaggeration. It's a fact. Napoleon Hill said that people who make decisions quickly know what they want and usually get it. And do you know why? Because the universe responds to clarity, not hesitation. Personal growth begins when you choose to stop putting it off. Every time you put it off, you are training your mind to accept less than you deserve. But when you decide with conviction, even without having all the answers, you activate an internal force capable of moving the impossible. Most people wait for the right moment, but that ideal moment never arrives. Whoever grows, who manifests, who gets rich, does not wait for perfect signs. They become the sign. Success mindset is about taking action even in uncertainty. It's saying, I don't have everything, but I'll go with what I have. And it is exactly in this movement that the universe begins to conspire. It's like he's saying, oh, are you really committed? So here's the next step. Be honest with yourself now. How long have you been on the fence? Whether it's a career change, starting a project, breaking up with something that takes you away from your abundance, the decision you avoid is delaying your life. Reprogramming the mind is also training to decide with courage. You may even make the wrong choice, but you will grow 1,000 times faster than someone who never chooses anything. The worst mistake is not deciding, because indecision drains your energy, sucks your self-esteem, and paralyzes your manifestation. And since you are here, absorbing this transformative knowledge, do the following: like the video and subscribe to the channel now. This strengthens this space and ensures that you continue to receive powerful content about mental reprogramming, self-help, personal development, and everything that involves transforming your life. Let's continue along on this journey. Going back, when you decide, you create movement. And it is movement that attracts the right opportunities. A door only opens after you take the first step towards it. This applies to everything: business, health, relationships, spirituality. A single well-made decision can save years of frustration. Think about it before putting it off again. Start small, but start. Deciding is what separates those who just want from those who manifest. And if you really want to master this internal game, you need to understand that decisions without vision are a shot in the dark. And that's why the next step is non-negotiable. Without clear vision, the mind is lost. And when the mind is lost, the body continues without direction. Napoleon Hill taught that whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But here's the thing: she needs conceive something. And that only happens when there is clarity. Personal growth starts with asking, what do I really want? Not what others think you should want, but what pulses inside you with strength, with truth. Without this direction, you become an easy prey to distractions and comparisons. Having clarity is the same as turning on a light in a dark room. Everything gains shape, depth, and direction. Abundance is not enough for those who live in doubt about what they are looking for. The universe responds to the frequency of certainty. Therefore, one of the most powerful exercises anyone can do is to write down, in detail, their vision of success. How do you feel in this scenario? Where do you live? What is your routine like? This is not fantasy. It is mental reprogramming. It is vibrational alignment. It is pure manifestation happening in the field of ideas. And be careful, vision without commitment becomes an illusion. Having clarity requires responsibility. You need to be unwaveringly committed to your vision, even when it seems distant. Success mindset is saying, this is my destiny, and accepting nothing less. This requires self-discipline. It requires refusing invitations that do not align with your purpose. It requires staying focused even when everything seems to go wrong. But that is the price of freedom, of self-improvement, professional and spiritual development. A good example is to visualize your life as if it were a company. If you were the CEO of your own existence, what decisions would you make today? What projects would you put aside? What habits would you cut immediately? This operational clarity, so to speak, is what transforms ideas into actions. Anyone seeking wealth and personal growth needs this strategic mindset. The mind responds with power when you feed it with clear, objective goals. She needs a map to activate the GPS of achievement. If you still feel stuck, try starting with small questions. What makes me lose energy? Who do I become a worse version of myself with? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? These questions are like internal flashlights. They illuminate what is hidden. And it's this kind of emotional clarity that unlocks manifestation. Remember, the world doesn't reward effort, it rewards results. And results only come with the right direction. But even with vision and clarity, without a solid foundation for action, everything can fall apart. And that's where one of the biggest secrets to success comes in. Discipline and hard work beat luck. There is a popular idea out there that success has to do with luck, that those who get rich were in the right place at the right time. But that's just a comfortable excuse. Napoleon Hill was clear when he wrote that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. In other words, it is the invisible, repetitive, disciplined work that builds the basis of manifestation. Anyone who desires abundance needs to understand that comfort is poison in disguise. True personal growth requires sacrifice, and discipline is the bridge between what you want and what you don't yet have. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to. It's getting up early to meditate, even when your body asks for bed. It's saying no to what takes your focus, even when everyone else is saying yes. It means stopping spending on momentary pleasures to invest in your professional development. Does it seem boring? Could it be? But it is this strategic boredom that builds freedom. While some live trapped in cycles of frustration due to lack of constancy, others are silently shaping their own destiny with discipline. And it's not about working until you exhaust yourself, but about creating a routine that serves your purpose. Self-discipline is not a prison, it is what sets you free. When you choose effort now, you choose lightness later on. It's like planting a seed every day, even when the soil seems dry. You trust the process. And trust why? Because the success mindset understands that time is always on your side when there is consistency. Those who do it every day, those who only do it when they feel like it, win. A good way to apply this is by creating micro habits. If you want to get rich, start by studying 15 minutes a day about finance. A good starting point could be the book The Richest Man in Babylon. If you want to improve your energy and focus, adopt a daily practice of affirmations in the morning. If you want more mind power, reduce your consumption of useless content and increase your reading time with authors like Napoleon Hill, Joe Dispenza, and Robin Sharma. Small daily rituals build big transformations. And look, when you truly commit, the universe notices. He tests you, yes, but he also rewards. People emerge. Opportunities appear. Ideas come from nowhere. It's no coincidence. It's alignment. But this only happens to those who can take the effort, to those who persist even when results take time. Remember, success is not an event. It is a sequence of well-built habits. And these habits come from discipline, from the same discipline that builds self-confidence, clarity, and true manifestation. And for all of this to work at full power, you need to learn to master the only thing you really control, your own thoughts. It all starts in the mind. Before any external change, the internal terrain needs to be cleaned, prepared, cultivated. Napoleon Hill said that you become what you think about most of the time. And it is impossible to achieve abundance, personal growth, or truly become rich if your thoughts are contaminated by fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs. Mental reprogramming is the most important step on the path to manifestation. The life you live today is a direct reflection of what your mind has accepted as truth in recent years. Most people live on autopilot, reproducing inherited mental patterns without ever questioning them. Negative thinking becomes a habit. Phrases like "this isn't for me," "I can't do it," "I don't deserve it" become destructive mantras. But the good news is, the mind can be trained. And training begins with substitution. When you feed your brain with powerful affirmations, positive thoughts, and daily visualizations, something changes. Subtly at first, and then deeply and irreversibly. Think of the mind as a garden. If you don't plant flowers, weeds will grow naturally. The power of the mind is in choosing what goes in and what stays. Want practical examples? Stop watching content that reinforces scarcity. Start and end the day with phrases that align you with abundance. Take guided meditations focused on personal development and manifestation. Use post-its with affirmations in the places you look most: mirror, cell phone, refrigerator. This isn't nonsense, it's conditioning. And here's a secret that few talk about. The mind doesn't distinguish between the real and the imagined. If you repeat daily that you are a confident, prosperous, and deserving person, your subconscious begins to behave as such. This changes your attitudes, your decisions, and even the way others perceive you. This is the root of self-improvement. There is no point in wanting to become rich on the outside if your mind still lives in poverty. A successful mindset is the ground on which everything is built, from love to money, from health to spirituality. You only have one real choice. Either you dominate your mind, or it dominates you. There is no middle ground. And if it is dominated by fear, you will sabotage yourself in silence. He will turn down opportunities because he thinks he is not ready yet. You will run away from healthy relationships because you don't feel worthy. You will procrastinate incredible projects for fear of judgment. But if you master your mind, oh yes, you activate what is most powerful in you, internal freedom. And now that you understand all of this, there's only one thing left, putting it into practice. Will you continue waiting for perfect conditions, or will you finally take control of your life? Will you continue to feed the same limiting beliefs that brought you here? Or will you decide, once and for all, to create a new reality? Because the truth is simple. Either you dominate your mind, or you live being dominated by circumstances. You already know the way. You already understand that personal growth doesn't happen by magic, it happens by choice. And choice requires courage. What will you do differently from now on? What habits will you change? What thoughts will you refuse to feed? Comment below, I want to hear from you. Your transformation starts with a single step, and it can happen today. If this content woke you up, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because from now on we will delve even deeper into all of this. Self-discipline, success mindset, manifestation, mind power, personal development, and everything you need to live your best version. Come with us. Do you see the video that is now appearing on your screen? He didn't appear to you by chance. Click and see, as it could help you a lot.